gave the Mitch McConnell line that every Southern senator uses, frankly, about there being no education, second kick of the mule. So here's my question. How many Republican senators felt the mule kick of this shutdown and will want to avoid repeating the experience? And I don't know the answer to that yet. We do know that there was an extremely tense Republican senators lunch, I believe it was yesterday, in which their voices were raised. Senator Ron Johnson and Mitch McConnell sort of snarling at each other over the debacle of the shutdown. You had a number of Republican senators, I think six or seven, who voted for the Democratic bill to open the government without wall funding. You had, according to the Post story posted tonight, you had Mitch McConnell calling the president saying, "Look, my senators are in revolt. I can't hold this. You're gonna have to give up." So has that changed? Is there another change in Washington? Not just Nancy Pelosi as another power center, but is there a change in the Republican Senate? And I'm not sure of the answer, but we'll see.
And you're right, he didn't even get the State of the Union. There's some theories out there that maybe he decided, he would give in so that he could have his TV show. Nancy Pelosi said, we're not doing that either until the government's fully open. He didn't even get the TV show back.
Yeah, I think he'll get it eventually, but it's going to be on her terms and not his. And just to follow up on what was just said, I think a really important thing that we have to recognize here is the psychological damage to Trump's base. I think, as Tim said, the wall was a central promise for Trump to his base, the idea that he is a strong negotiator. He set this whole thing up to go mano a mano against Democrats, and he failed. And I think the one question is how this will move into the future. Republicans really were hurt by following him. And these poll numbers have been terrible. You have a number of Republicans who were up in 2020, Joni Ernst, Tillis, others who voted one way, voted against themselves, and then voted the other way. These people just voted against, yesterday, voted against a bill that they voted for today.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are going to wonder whether following Trump, like they have in lockstep, makes sense when it's been such a political disaster over the last several weeks.
Well, Tim, I'll ask you that then, because Donald Trump is not accustomed, number one, to know, and also to having to admit failure. Today he did have to admit failure. I wonder if does he wind up getting abandoned here? Because he has delivered nothing but failure at the hands of a woman, no less.
At the hands of a woman. He actually didn't admit failure. He had the bizarre statement of saying, we don't build medieval walls, we build smart walls. And there is no money in this interim bill for a wall at all.
Right.
So he wasn't really admitting defeat. He was telling a narrative that he could stomach in the Rose Garden. He's going to go now, he's going to go home and count his marbles and figure out how he's going to have to come back at this group. But what he's done along the way is he's frayed his base. He's frayed the GOP. He has done reputational damage to the country. He has caused logistical, financial, and reputational damage across the board. It's going to be very hard for him to come back from.
Yeah, indeed. It's been quite a 35-day spectacle. Neera Tanden, Eugene Robinson, Tim O'Brien, thank you all very much.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.
Years from now, when people ask what the longest government shutdown in U.S. history was all about, what will be said? The short answer, of course, is the wall. The 35-day shutdown over the wall, which caused immeasurable suffering to hundreds of thousands of Americans, ended today. The same day that Roger Stone, the longtime Donald Trump advisor who invented the idea of building the wall as a trick to remind Donald Trump to talk tough on immigration at his campaign rallies, was taken into custody in the early morning hours by more than 24 federal employees working without pay, armed FBI agents, and indicted by Robert Mueller. Donald Trump's terrible Friday started with that news and ended with him violating one of Roger Stone's cardinal rules of politics: never admit defeat.
I am very proud to announce today that we have reached a deal to end the shutdown and reopen the federal government. As everyone knows, I have a very powerful alternative, but I didn't want to use it at this time.
You know, Donald Trump put a brave face on that, but that is what total abject defeat sounds like. That is what complete surrender to Nancy Pelosi sounds like.
We're grateful to Democrats on both sides of the Capitol for their unity. That was very, very important in these discussions. It's sad, though, that it's taken this long to come to an obvious conclusion. I quote Lincoln all the time: public sentiment is everything. That you can accomplish almost anything. And we thank the public for weighing in so strongly.
35 days of a shutdown, and Donald Trump got nothing. 800,000 federal workers got the financial hardship of 2 missed paychecks. Another 1.2 million federal contractors will never be made whole. Members of the Coast Guard were forced to go to food banks. Law enforcement agencies were begging for money to enable them to just do their jobs. Today, airlines began grounding flights as air traffic controllers called in sick, and all for nothing. Tonight, the president signed the legislation he vowed not to sign after it passed in the Senate and the House. It will fund the government for 21 days. But just because Donald Trump got nothing doesn't mean the situation is the same as it was 35 days ago. Nancy Pelosi took on Trump and beat him. The Democratic caucus stayed united. And it's starting to sound like the Republican caucus is changing course.
This is good news. This is long-awaited news. In fairness, Mr. President, this never should have happened.
And of course, Trump's base feels betrayed. Conservative commentator Ann Coulter, who prior to the shutdown was enjoying the power to order the President of the United States around, tweeted, quote, "Good news for George Herbert Walker Bush. As of today, he is no longer the biggest wimp ever to serve as President of the United States." One headline for right-wing media outlet Breitbart News read, "Government open and border no wall, still no SOTU." Tonight, Donald Trump took to Twitter to try and claim defeat is not defeat, with a vague thread about what could happen when the temporary funding runs out in 21 days. Well, this was in no way a concession. If no deal is done, it's off to the races, exclamation point. Join us now is Tim O'Brien, executive editor of Bloomberg Opinion and MSNBC contributor, Neera Tanden, president of the Center for American Progress, and Eugene Robinson, associate editor and Pulitzer Prize-winning opinion writer for the Washington Post. And he's also an MSNBC political analyst. And Eugene, I'm actually going to start with you on this, just to give us kind of your big picture of what we saw today. You saw a president probably at his weakest moment. If you split screened Donald Trump and Roger Stone, it would be hard to tell which of them was getting indicted, because Roger Stone looked jubilant, throwing up his hands like Nixon, and Donald Trump looked completely deflated.
He was deflated. He couldn't even convince himself of what he was saying. He said, well, we have a deal. Well, it's not a deal. It was a capitulation. It was the deal the exact deal with no alteration, no variation whatsoever that he could have had 35 days ago. It was basically the deal that he had agreed to and then reneged on back in December. It was not a deal. It was a surrender. And you know, one thing that has struck me, there's a fabulous story in the Washington Post posted tonight by my colleague Phil Rucker and others about sort of the inside TikTok of this capitulation. And one thing that comes through is what terrible advice Donald Trump was getting. Not that you can tell him anything, but people like Jared Kushner completely misread the political situation, completely misread the Democratic caucus. They all misread Nancy Pelosi. It's not like she's an unknown quantity. She's been around for a long time. Everybody in Washington knows who she is and how she operates and could know what to expect. But they had no clue. They've been here 2 years and they had no clue of how to do this negotiation, and they paid the price.
You know, Tim O'Brien, as somebody who's been a biographer of Donald Trump, they could have just watched television, which is what Donald Trump does all day, to know what the temperature was. It's shocking that they wouldn't know that Democrats were not going to give Donald Trump a wall. It's not happening. But it was interesting to see that split screen where Roger Stone seemed to like kind of have the time of his life, even though he was just indicted. And Donald Trump looked completely, the air was sucked out of him. What do you think is going through his mind right now?
I don't think Donald Trump never stays down for very long. So I don't think Donald Trump operating in the public eye in a defeated or deflated mode is something that's going to continue very long. And I think the question we have to ask then is, what's the net result going to be when he reinflates? And I think what it's going to be, I suspect, is he will try to invoke national emergency powers on the southern border to try to do a wall that way. I think he's going to get a lot of pressure from Republicans not to do that. I don't know that he'll listen to them. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to go through a weekend now in which he's being spoken of as being emasculated, being beaten by a woman. He's got Ann Coulter calling him a wimp.
Yeah.
All of this gets to his sense of his own manhood and his masculinity, and he never does well in that situation. So I think he's going to lash out.
Yeah, I mean, a former administration official about reopening the government called it a total cave unless he calls national security emergency when he doesn't get the wall funded in the next 3 weeks. And this was Donald Trump saying sort of the same thing in the Rose Garden today. Take a listen.
So let me be very clear. We really have no choice but to build a powerful wall or steel barrier. If we don't get a fair deal from Congress, the government will either shut down on February 15th again, or I will use the powers afforded to me under the laws and the Constitution of the United States to address this emergency.
Neera Tanden, I haven't spoken to anybody today who believes that the government will shut down again, that Mitch McConnell will go along with this again. He loves to have this saying about there's no education in the second kick of a mule. Apparently he said that to his caucus. I don't think anybody believes Donald Trump is going to be able to shut the government down again. What about this idea of him trying to save face by escalating the promises now to his base, that now he's going to invoke a national emergency? Your thoughts?
I mean, he may well do that, and I think that would really just kick it to the courts. And numerous legal experts say it would be unconstitutional. There's clear Supreme Court precedent for that. Obviously, the national emergency was also an issue that was ridiculed by his base. So it does create some wedge issues. But I really think, just to step back for 1 second about where we are, I think one of the reasons why Donald Trump so misjudged Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats and essentially the political situation is because he's been dealing with a Republican Congress for 2 years that just did his bidding. And this today, in my view, was really the first moment where the work that everyone did to elect the House Democratic majority really stopped Trump in his tracks.
Yeah.
And it was a full frontal defeat because he just misjudged, but also, she has a strong caucus, not a bare majority caucus, a strong majority and her strength in her caucus strengthens Schumer's hand in his caucus. And so I think he just met the wall, and it was Nancy Pelosi's spine.
Yeah, I mean, the Washington Post has a piece that talks about the prisoner of his own impulse inside Trump's cave, and what they say is that Trump and Pelosi had not spoken since their January 9th session, in which the president stormed out of the White House Situation Room. In a private meeting with some columnists earlier this week, Pelosi was asked why she thought Trump had not created a more potent nickname for her than Nancy. She replied, according to a senior Democratic aide, some people think that's because he understands the power of the speaker. And Tim, is he teachable in the sense that he really didn't clearly know what the Speaker of the House does and didn't understand the power relative to the power of his office? Is there any sign that maybe even he doesn't understand it, that his team now understands it, and that some way they will govern themselves accordingly?
Well, his team come to it belatedly. Donald Trump has probably the most inept administration ever to occupy the White House. So this isn't just a Donald Trump problem. Jared Kushner is really yet to earn his junior G-Man badge, and they're sending him to be the envoy to the Middle East. They've got him working on immigration policy. They've got him negotiating on the wall, and he's in over his head. There's no one around this president who's competent enough to address the myriad numbers of policies that come in front of them, to stand up to the president and tell him to listen when he should, because Trump ultimately never listens to anybody. And what you have now in this event is, as Neera said, it's the first sort of landmark failure for this team in which they're exposed, their incompetence is exposed. It's also Donald Trump revealed as an inept deal maker, a guy who came to Washington with a base believing that he was a very competent businessman who could get things done in Washington, even though his track record as a businessman was just as abysmal as this deal he just got plowed under by Nancy Pelosi on.
Yeah.
And that's all come home to roost.
And for his party, too, it strikes me, Eugene, because, all really that's come out of this is that Donald Trump, his cabinet, and even his daughter-in-law have been revealed to be incredibly callous individual people. The Republican Party look completely weak. They wouldn't vote for the same thing they voted for before until a weakened president gave them permission. And Lindsey Graham, who styled himself the new bestie of Donald Trump and Trump whisperer, he's gotten nothing for all of his obsequiousness. And he put himself out on a limb on January 2nd, saying this about these wall negotiations. Let's listen to Lindsey Graham.
If he gives in now, that's the end of 2019 in terms of him being an effective president. That's probably the end of his presidency.
Eugene,
let's go. Let's go.
I mean, from Lindsay's lips to God's ear, maybe, maybe it is the end of his presidency. Who knows? But it's a very interesting question. So you gave the Mitch McConnell line that every Southern senator uses, frankly, about there being no education, the second kick of the wheel. So here's my question: how many Republican senators felt the mule kick of this shutdown and will want to avoid repeating the experience? And I don't know the answer to that yet. We do know that there was an extremely tense Republican senators lunch. I believe it was yesterday, in which their voices were raised. Senator Ron Johnson and Mitch McConnell sort of snarling at each other over the debacle of the shutdown. You had a number of Republican senators, I think six or seven, who voted for the Democratic bill to open the government without wall funding. You had, according to the Post story posted tonight, you had Mitch McConnell calling the president saying, "Look, my senators are in revolt. I can't hold this. You're gonna have to give up." So has that changed? Is there another change in Washington? Not just Nancy Pelosi as another power center, but is there a change in the Republican Senate? And I'm not sure of the answer, but we'll see.
And you're right, he didn't even get the State of the Union. There's some theories out there that maybe he decided, he would give in so that he could have his TV show. Nancy Pelosi said, we're not doing that either until the government's fully open. He didn't even get the TV show back.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll get it eventually, but it's going to be on her terms and not his. And just to follow up on what was just said, I think a really important thing that we have to recognize here is the psychological damage to Trump's base. I think, as Tim said, the wall was a central promise for Trump to his base, the idea that he is a strong negotiator. He set this whole thing up to go mano a mano against Democrats. And he failed. And I think the one question is how this will move into the future. Republicans really were hurt by following him. And these poll numbers have been terrible. You have a number of Republicans who were up in 2020, Joni Ernst, Tillis, others who voted one way, voted against themselves, and then voted the other way. I mean, these people just voted against yesterday, voted against a bill that they voted for today.
Yeah.
So I think, I think a lot of people are going to wonder whether following Trump, like they have in lockstep, makes sense when it's been such a political disaster over the last several weeks.
Well, Tim, I'll ask you that then, because Donald Trump is not accustomed, number one, to no, and also to having to admit failure. Today he did have to admit failure. I wonder if does he wind up getting abandoned here? Because he has delivered nothing but failure at the hands of a woman, no less.
At the hands of a woman. He actually didn't admit failure. He had the bizarre statement of saying, we don't build medieval walls, we build smart walls. And there is no money in this interim bill for a wall at all.
Right.
So he wasn't really admitting defeat. He was telling a narrative that he could stomach in the Rose Garden. When he's going to go now, he's going to go home and count his marbles and figure out how he's going to have to come back at this group. But what he's done along the way is he's frayed his base. He's frayed the GOP. He has done reputational damage to the country. He has caused logistical, financial, and reputational damage across the board. It's going to be very hard for him to come back from.
Yeah, indeed. It's been quite a 35-day spectacle. Neera Tanden, Eugene Robinson, Tim O'Brien, thank you all very much.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking.
All right, y'all. Trump is being dragged today. Even when you go to, let me show you this. Oh, and by the way, China is talking about pulling all of their money out of Silicon Valley. Oh, I mean, this thing is just crazy. I mean, Trump is just being dragged. You can see this. Trump opened government, Coulter, Hannity, weigh-in, and split. So right now, the conservatives are splitting from Trump. His base is splitting from him now. They are furious with Trump. Trump is being called a wimp. He caved. He's the worst president ever. He's the weakest president. Oh, man, they are just dragging this man. And I want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody. I had everything on full screen, so it wasn't quite so easy to see your comments. But everybody that's coming into the chat, Shabbat Shalom to you. Oh, I'm having a ball this morning going through the stories and the videos. And oh, man, they said his poll numbers have plummeted. People are saying they want Trump gone. They want him out of the White House. I mean, you should hear the stuff that's going on today. They are just Trump is getting dragged badly today. Bad. Woo. And it said when he gave his speech yesterday, the right had a meltdown on Trump. So it looks like the government is back open, at least for the next 3 weeks. And yes, I did see some of the calls for the right to close it again. He's going to have a hard time closing it again. But, these federal workers, y'all, got screwed. I went back and read about their back pay. They're only getting 1 week of back pay. They are not getting back pay from the 22nd of December up until yesterday. They are not getting that. They're only getting 1 week of back pay. That's it. So when we were hearing about them getting back pay, I was under the impression they were going to get all of the weeks that they are off. They're not. They're just getting 1 week and that's it. How do you catch up on your bills with just 1 week of back pay? You can't. You can't. So really, those federal employees got screwed badly. So, it's not what you think. I thought the same thing. When I heard they were getting back pay, I thought they were getting all of it. They're not. They're not. But they said this has caused a major financial problem in the US. The shutdown exceeds the amount that Trump wanted for his wall, $5.7 billion. It has far exceeded that. Yeah. Yeah. So, man, I'm going to have my eyes and ears on the media today because nobody is saying anything good about Trump today on the left or right. And in fact, they're putting the victory in the hands of Nancy Pelosi. They said he's been defeated by a woman. And they're dragging Trump all over Twitter, where he loves to be. He's being dragged badly out on Twitter. I think this is the one time I've seen both parties come together to go after Trump, but that's exactly what's happening today. Both parties are coming together to drag Trump. I think it's hilarious myself. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Well, you know what? I knew Trump was going to fall. I think many of us did know. I really do. Trump is a very sloppy kind of person. And come on, if a person couldn't run businesses, what makes you believe that same person that failed in all of his businesses is now going to be a successful president? Come on, who believed that? Seriously, who believed that? Yeah, they're dragging Trump. Both the right and left are dragging Trump, and every single media outlet, all of them are dragging Trump. Every single one, including Fox News. His favorite, Fox News. Fox News is dragging him too. And I was looking online at that Breitbart. Breitbart is dragging Trump too. So Trump has lost everything just from this shutdown. Because a lot of them, how do you go 35 days and not get what you want and then turn around and open the government back up when you said you weren't going to do that until you got your wall? So there you go. So he lost all the way around. And I'm just loving it. I'm loving all of this. Yeah, I have a lot of mods, Savannah. Well, I don't think he's going to show himself now. It's how do you come back and talk a bunch of shit about a wall and you caved in on the shutdown? Yeah, I hear you, True Royal. She said, I knew the shutdown was going to end before the Super Bowl. Yeah. Yeah. But I tell you what, I know those federal workers are pissed when they hear what the back pay is. Many of them went to work this whole time just to get 1 week's back pay, and that's it. That is pretty damn effed up. Shabbat shalom to everybody coming into the room. Well, it's going to be difficult for him to say anything about Obama now. under Obama, there was only one shutdown, and that shutdown lasted for 16 days. Trump, only in 1 year, there's been 3 shutdowns, and the last one was the biggest failure. Well, I tell you what, he would be easy to impeach right now. Absolutely, he would. And they said he did a lot of this from the advice of his son-in-law, Ivanka's husband, that Jared Kushner. He was the one that told Trump to do all of this stuff. And you see, you see, neither one of them got a sense of common sense between them. They don't have no sense whatsoever to believe this kind of shutdown was going to work. I think right now, Trump is politically in critical condition. He really is. He's in critical condition, y'all. I don't know how he's going to bounce back from this. And to be honest with you, I don't think he will. I don't think he's going to bounce back from this. Yeah, I saw the Roger Stone thing. He looked like he was happy to be indicted. When I saw him on video, he looked like he was very happy to be indicted. Well, CH38, we all know now one of them got no high IQ. I say their intelligence is on a serious decline. Yeah, Roger Stone, that man is weird to me. You know, he's one of those folks, if I was on the elevator and he walked into the elevator, I would probably just walk off of the elevator because he looks like a creep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Jared got him into all of this mess. He took the advice of his son-in-law on this government shutdown. Yeah. He took the advice of his son-in-law, and look at what happened. Yeah. He does look like a pedophile. Well, you know, what he did was let the whole world see how weak America really is as a nation. America's weak. The America militarily, they may have a lot of things, you know, a lot of the equipment and bombs and nukes and all that stuff. But on a social level, America has never been a strong country. There's been always divisions within America. Racism being the biggest divider in America. It's the absolute biggest divider. And then from there, you can look at all the divisions in gender, you know, the disparities in income, you know, between the rich and poor. It's always been this way. Very weak from within, not a strong country within. And of course, you know, when I say these things, I'm a hater, y'all. You know, I'm a hater. I hate America. I hate what America has done to my people. That's what I hate the most. And that's why I will always have my foot on America's neck and will keep it there. Exactly, King Hebrew. It's a divided, very divided country. But I mean, come on. I think many of us, especially my people, you know, my people are smart and up on things. Look, we knew Trump was going to be a disaster before he got in office. Many of us already knew this. And if you've been following Trump from his New York days all the way up until now, you would have seen that train wreck coming. No, no, America's not going to get better. Remember, America did this shutdown on the world stage. And so, no, America is never going to look better in the world. And Trump is really destroying America's whatever little reputation America has. Trump is destroying it. I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to see this man don't know how to run anything, and he certainly don't know how to run this country. That's why I laughed at all those people talking about, well, Trump is a businessman. Trump ain't no businessman. Trump don't run nothing. He got a bunch of foot soldiers and people he hired that does all the work. Trump don't do no work. Come on. I mean, really, how good did you really think he's going to run a country working 3 hours a day? Okay, Trump only works 3 hours a day. Now, how successful do you think he was going to be in running the country and working hours? Some of our part-time workers work more hours than that on a regular basis. You know what? I want him to stay in office just so he can finish destroying this place. I want him to stay. Don't impeach him. Let him stay. Because nobody's going to tear America down faster than Trump. No, I didn't see that, the rich boy 903. No, I did not see that letter from his supporter asking Obama and Bush for help. I'm going to have to look that one up. Oh, boy. Y'all, I got one more thing I got to tell you, and you're probably going to get a good laugh out of this, but it wasn't funny when it happened. On Wednesday, around noon, a white man went to my back door and tried to break into my house. My son was downstairs and he saw what was going on. Now, my son plays a lot of sports and he had his baseball bat downstairs. So he went and got his baseball bat and went to the back door so the guy could see him holding the baseball bat. And as soon as he saw my son, he ran and left my backyard. On Friday, the police contacted me because we had to call the cops and everything. The police contacted me and they caught the guy. And guess what? Guess what he was high on, y'all? What stories do I do every day? Guess what he was high on? Mm-hmm. Guess what he was high on? He was high on opioids, y'all. This white dude was high on opioids. I guess I done talked about opioids so damn much. The damn addicts are now coming to my house trying to break in. So he admitted to the police that he was high and he was only trying to come into my house to look for something to sell for more drugs. So I guess all of those stories I told were true. And, my son told me he looked weird too. He said he could tell something wasn't right about this guy because when he looked at him, he didn't look right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now a living testament that an opioid addict tried to get in my damn house. Yes, this was a blonde-haired white dude. He came around to my back door and he was trying to get in my house through my back door. I was upstairs at the time and my son was downstairs. Oh, he would have had a hard time. First of all, my back door has bars on them, y'all. My back door got bars. It got the iron bars on them. So he would not have had such an easy time getting in. Yes, he was, because he was caught trying to get into another house. That's how he was caught. And they, and from the description my son was able to give them, they had the right guy. They had the guy. They caught him. So he was caught 2 days after trying to break into my house. But see, y'all, this is what these white junkies are doing. And this is why they should be taken off of the street. But see, during the crack epidemic, everybody went to jail, right? I am armed. Everybody went to jail, right? But during the opioid plague, everybody's free. And that's the problem. That is the major problem in America. They don't want to lock up these junkies when they really do deserve to be locked up. So this is the end result of them letting their junkies stumble around all over the place to the point where they're committing crimes. Thank you. Now, I'm just glad that, my son was downstairs to catch what was going on. And I mean, hey, he's strong because he handled that whole thing by himself. He really did. He handled the entire thing alone downstairs with that man. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that was the nearest thing he had downstairs was his baseball bat. So that's what he got. So all of you, whether you're at your house or in public, just know there are millions of junkies out here. So always watch your back and be careful. Be careful. Because the way everything is going in America, it's only going to get worse. And according to a lot of the news articles that I'm reading today, the trade war with China is about to kick back up again. That's about to start up again. Yeah. Yeah, you really do. The rich boy 903, you do. You got to watch from every direction. You really do. I mean, these folks, by not getting these junkies off the street, they've made it unsafe for all of us. That's what they have done. Yes, and we have to also teach our kids to stay away from a lot of these people, especially on the streets. Yeah. So I just wanted to just do this brief um hangout because I wanted y'all to see all the news, all the bad news that's coming out against Trump. Hi, Tasha J. All of the bad news that's coming out against Trump the day after the reopening of the government. Woo, man. I said, this is going to be a real entertaining weekend. I'm sure going to enjoy it. I tell you, I almost came close to getting my popcorn today, y'all, but I didn't get it. Not just yet. Yeah, you're right. That's right. Blood moon. That's right. This is right after the blood moon. And this is going to get worse. Politically, can you imagine how much fighting is going to be going down? And then Trump is going to try to flex his muscles after he lost this whole thing with the shutdown. He lost. There is no saving face on this. He lost. Yeah, Jim Johnson, that's the problem. There are too many junkies on the street. And one of the other things that they're covering up about all these junkies are killing a lot of people behind the wheel. Many of them are driving and they're killing all kinds of people every single day, all drugged up behind the wheel. And they are conveniently keeping that out of the news. It's being kept out of the news on purpose. But I'm telling you, it is a huge problem. Right now, there are more people drugged up behind the wheels than there are alcoholics behind the wheel. And they are causing a lot of problems every single day in this country. And they're killing a lot of people. And it's being very quiet and not in the media at all. Yeah, I believe you, Tareen. You said the government shutdown cost the economy $6 billion. And for what? Just for 45 the cave at the end? So that's 6 billion wasted funds for what? Boy, he ain't gonna live this down, y'all. Trump is never going to live this shutdown. He ain't gonna be able to live it down. He's not. He now got his albatross that he's wearing around his neck now that he will never be able to get rid of. Well, about a month ago, this white dude behind the wheel killed a black baby in a stroller, and he was high on opioids. He was driving, and I think he and his mother were walking, and he was in a stroller, and his dumbass jumped the curb and went right into the stroller and killed the baby. A little black boy killed him. And he was all high on opioids. That's why I'm saying, because they want to coddle these people, they're putting all of us in danger. See, if they were dealing with these opioid addicts, then one would not have showed up at my back door trying to bust into my damn house. I know, Tareen. I remember that story. I will never forget. I mean, that was so sad. But again, this is because they won't deal with these junkies. No, that 6 billion should have went towards our reparations. That's what that 6 billion could have went towards. Give us our damn money so we can get out the way. Give us our reparations and we can get the hell on out the way. And let them just destroy themselves as they are right now. Well, Mitch McConnell already said today he can't ask the Senate to go along with another shutdown. But his people, I guess, because they're trying to save face, they know that this looks bad. They're talking about Trump should shut the government down. Trump should shut the government down. He ain't going to get the kind of backing that he had during this first shutdown. He kind of had the GOP with him. But he don't have them with him now. It's going to be very difficult for him to yell for another shutdown. Not unless he convinced some of his people on Capitol Hill to go along with him. I mean, if he can't do that, then he's pretty much screwed. And he still didn't get the nod to do the State of the Union. And what is he really going to say at this point? I'm sorry I ruined everybody's life for 35 days and and I did it all for nothing? Shabbat shalom, KD. I mean, seriously, what is he going to say? You're right, Unique Hill. They are. They're just once again proving they don't know how to run a damn thing, which we already knew. Trump is a wanker. I can tell you're from the UK. A wanker, huh? You know what? Kamala Harris, Tareen, is wasting her time. She is not going to get the black vote. People are not going to get behind her, and I think black people have reached our boiling point with folks taking advantage of the black vote and then getting nothing in return. I think my cat, Loretta, got a better chance at being president than Kamala Harris. That's how I feel. No, she is truly wasting her time. She's wasting her time. Nobody wants to go through the Obama thing all over again. You may look a little melanated, but at the end of the day, you're not with us. And we know you're not with us. Right. True Oil, she's a hoe. Yeah, she's not. She's not with us. We already know that. No, in fact, no politician in Washington is with the black community. Not even the black politicians. They're not with us either. With everything that we have gone through in this country, there should be all kinds of legislation being pushed for the black community. And to this day, there is nothing. There is nothing. There is no politician trying to push any black agenda. You're right. And there is no politician speaking on our behalf. The last time we saw the black politicians speak, they were speaking over immigration. They were not speaking on the behalf of the black community. So we literally have no one in our corner in Washington. And I believe a lot of people are getting sick of it now. So Kamala Harris can run all she wants, but her chances of getting the presidency is a big zero. And I've seen the clownery, all that clowning mess that she's doing. She's trying to dance and sing and all that stuff. We don't want to hear all that stuff. She's looking like a minstrel show. And, nobody wants to see that from her. I think I watched one video and she was calling herself dancing to Cardi B. Nobody wants to see that, Kamala Harris. Please go home. Go somewhere and sit down. Well, And nobody's going to vote. Deadpool 81, nobody's going to vote for her. Nobody's going to vote. She'll be bowing out of the run, probably one of the first ones to get out, because nobody's going to vote. Her chances of winning, zero. They're not going to vote for somebody like her. I don't even believe Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, the one that Trump called Pocahontas, she won't win either. Well, Bernie Sanders, he immediately said, we don't even deserve reparations. So, no, I would never vote for him. Yes, I did see Kamala Harris's white husband. Yeah, she is married to a white man. No, I mean, we already seen, the pandering to the black community, but when you get in office, you do nothing for us. I think that is I think that is kind of old now for many black people. I'm sure there's some that still didn't have enough, but there's starting to be a lot of people that had enough of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I saw that those white teens in the MAGA hat. Um, that is something, as far as I'm concerned, that is equivalent to a Klan's hood, that MAGA hat, and nothing excuses what those teens did. Now, I know they're trying to toss in the Hebrew Israelites. I even saw a report where they're trying to blame the Indian man, and they were the ones that approached him. They were even trying to blame the Indian man and claim he was not a victim. But it was 100% those white teens' fault in what happened. It was 100% them. And we've seen them do that. They do that on YouTube. You could be on your channel minding your business, talking to your people, and then here they come, throwing some racist shit in the middle of everything. They do that on YouTube. So, of course, they're going to do it in person. And as usual, don't know how to leave anyone alone. Yeah, I saw the interview. I saw the clipping of them in Washington bothering that Indian man. I saw the whole thing. And no, those kids are not the victims. Now, the media is trying to turn them into victims, but they are not victims. They antagonize that whole situation. And the reason why the Hebrews are in there is because one of the mothers of the boys, of those white boys, was saying it was the Hebrews' fault. And it really wasn't. When they were messing with that Indian man, there was no Hebrews around them. It was just them and all them big ass red MAGA hats. That's all I saw. I didn't see no Hebrews. I don't let them calling CH, you know what? Never let that upset you, because let me tell you something. We can't be racist. We can't be racist. We can't do anything to this white man to stop him from getting a job, from living in any neighborhood that he wants, traveling anywhere. But they do those things to us. Look, there's still sundown towns in America where black people better be out of there before the sun goes down, right? We don't have any locations in America where white people can't be when the sun goes down. So, no, we are not racist. We don't have the financial means to stop them from doing anything or going anywhere or working anywhere, nothing. So it's their attempt on making a false equivalence. It's just like they try to say black supremacist. There's no such thing as a black supremacist. It is just them, once again, making a false equivalence. When you type in supremacy, the only thing that comes up is white. There is no Asian supremacy, Mexican supremacy, black supremacy. None of those things come up. Only thing that comes up is white supremacy, period. And when you hear somebody say black supremacist, black separatist, that's alt-right talk. Okay, you automatically know that is an alt-right person. Yeah, I mean, you don't even pay attention to that. We are not we're not racist. We don't have a racist society that stops a white man from doing anything. Well, they're just making a false equivalence. You know, let them make all the videos they want. Just because they made a video, it doesn't make it true. Yeah, I don't even take them seriously when they say black supremacists and black supremacy. I don't even pay them. I mean, don't even take that stuff seriously. That again, when you hear that, just know that's an alt-right person. And Shabbat Shalom, Brenda. Well, Ermia, we have to do a spiritual separation. You know, remember, we're going to be in America, but that doesn't mean we have to be part of America. You know, we can live as separated as we want, especially spiritually. You spiritually disconnect, and that's what we all should be doing. No, but you know what? Trump is showing the world that they are not capable of running things like they claim they are. They need to worry about, you're right. XT1, you're right, because they got a lot of things going on. You know, number one, they are failing politically, as we can see through Trump. They have a high suicide rate. They have a high opioid addiction problem out here. They are not reproducing. They got a lot on their plate. Racism should be the last thing they should be worried about. You would think with all the problems they're having, racism would be the last thing that they're worried about, but they're putting racism ahead of everything and forget about what's happening to us. You niggers this and you black people this and black people that. That should be the last thing on your mind. Yeah, they burn up from a damn hog wheat plant. That's tearing their asses up, talking about they're going to eradicate that plant. They're not going to eradicate that plant. Not at all. The seeds to that plant can lay dormant on the ground for 30 years. So if you took all the plants that you physically see off of the earth, those seeds that you did not get on the ground will sprout up eventually. So you're going to end up with the problem all over again. They never had a high IQ. And plus, if go back and look at the history of the IQ test, they had to revise that thing a couple of times before they could even pass it. So much for the IQ test. The test is a piece of junk. Nobody should have to take a test to measure whether they're smart or not. Only dumb people got to take a test like that. Stupid people need a test. They're never going to destroy all of the hogweed. That is just wishful thinking on their part. Because that plant is tearing their asses up. So they want it gone. Yeah, well, I see those plants even growing here. I've seen them. In fact, just looking at it, I've had some in my yard before. I've seen that plant, but I never had any negative reaction to it. Wild parsnip is another one that burns just like hogweed. That's another plant that's kind of equivalent to the hogweed plant. Right. That's it. Keisha Ford. I always knew it as ragweed too until I saw it under the name hogweed. But if all of you have seen ragweed, it's really the same plant. No, it's winter time here. And if you know the Northeast, everything's dead. Everything's dead. Dead. There's not even weeds out there right now that's growing. Yeah. You know what? Did y'all hear about that documentary they did on Michael Jackson? They are now dragging Michael Jackson again. They put some documentary out and they said it's very graphic and everything and about Michael Jackson, and I was like, why don't they just leave our men alone? So they're going to try to get to our men dead or alive, I guess. Yeah, they get those margarita, but they call them the margarita burns they get from limes and lemon out in the sun. That is just crazy. How the hell do you get burnt up from the sun slicing a lime or a lemon? Oh, come on. Woo, you got to have some weak ass skin for something like that to happen. Yeah, really. Oh man, there's something I want to show y'all. I'm going to show y'all something that's going to freak you out. Hold on, let me share my screen. Let me see if I can share my screen. Here it is. Let me share my screen with y'all. All right, y'all, look at this. This is real. This is real, y'all. This woman got 4 legs. This is real. Look at that. This is a real picture. This is not doctored or anything. Her name was Josephine Myrtle Corbin, and she was born with 4 legs. Yes, 4 legs. Here's another picture of her. This is her wedding day. Y'all see that? Medusa legs. Yeah. See, they have more mutations and more birth defects than we do. Yeah, it is a freak show. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, she was born with 4 legs. And according to what I read, all 4 legs are operational. So she can use all 4 legs. Some crazy shit, right? Some crazy ass shit. Man, you come on. That's her husband. You got to be some kind of freak to marry some woman that look like that. Yeah, that probably turned his ass on. He probably feel like he's sleeping with 2 women. I sleep with 2 women. She got 4 legs. Come on, he had to be a real freak to marry that. He probably was turned on by that shit. A fetish. That's right. He got a leg fetish. He got a leg fetish. Can you imagine that? Every time you go out, you got to put on 4 pairs of shoes. 4 pairs of shoes, y'all. But look, y'all. Yeah, can you imagine her doing the stanky leg? Oh, woo! Let's hope we don't get to see that because I'm gonna be on the damn floor. right, I got more to show y'all. Let's see here. Now, y'all know how Martina Biggs is doing all those injections, but there's more people. Here's a white guy that's doing the injections. Look at this. That don't even look right. I'm sorry, that don't look right, y'all. He looks like a freak. You notice how when they do these synthetic melatonin injections to get darker, you notice how they look weird? So you can tell that dark skin is definitely not intended for them. They look like a freak. It don't look normal. It don't look natural. It don't look good. Period. It don't look good. Oh my goodness, my goodness. Here's another guy right here, another white guy that did the injections from Australia. This one lives in Australia. And he did the synthetic melatonin injections to turn his skin dark. Now, some of them have used the injections to the point where this ain't even safe for them. Let me show you this. I'm scarred for life after overdosing on 110 injections. So this just go to show you those injections, ladies and gentlemen, are not even safe for them to get. This person got this skin infection from it. Look at that. They got a skin infection from getting all of those injections. So that just go to show you them getting those synthetic melatonin injections to get darker ain't even safe for them to do. And they can ultimately get a scar for life and an infection from it. And that's what happened to this person. Because you got to keep doing those injections over and over. If they don't do the injections over, then the dark skin will start wearing off. Sorry, Black Cobra. It starts wearing off. So they got to go back and get those injections again. It's not like they get one injection and that's it for life. No, they got to keep going back and getting the injections for their skin to stay dark. Yeah, I think that's the same one. And they show you, here's another person that got an infection. So those injections are not safe. This is what happened after. You can see the scar and bruising here. This is what happened after they get those injections. So it's not safe. Here it is, the synthetic melatonin, 10 milligrams. This is what they inject in their bodies in order to, to get the dark skin. This is what it looks like. So you can see this is what they get. And and ultimately after so many injections, they get infections and they bad scars on their skin from doing this stuff. You can't put nothing synthetic in your body and expect it to look as good as the real thing. If you look at them, even when they darken up, they don't look right. They don't look right. So I got this video that I want to show you. This is Martina Biggs, you know, and no matter how many injections this woman get, she still got the spirit of a white woman. She still does. It does not make any difference. Let me go ahead and play this video from the CW33. All right, sorry. Let me see if I can refresh this.
Oh, I like flamingos. It's a really nice bathroom and a nice little room. I want to trick them. Oh, yeah. I like it here very much. Matching to my dress. I have to tell you a lot of stories of the travel. You know, in the last months, I changed my appearance to a black girl with black hair. I like my look very much, but today there were a lot of people. No, this is not your passport. I don't give you your flight ticket, and even at the hotel receipt too. No, you don't get any kind of blue key. This is not your passport, and it's my passport. The picture is a little bit different because the picture is white girl with long blonde hairs, and you can see I'm a black girl with black hairs, so I have to change very soon my passport to get official a black girl.
She is weird. Come on, black women don't act like that, y'all. I mean, black women don't act like that. Okay? She made it look dark, but she very much have that spirit of a white woman all over her. You can't take that white woman out of her. As soon as she opens her mouth, you know damn well that's not a black woman. I don't care how dark she is, you know that's not a black woman. Yeah, it really is. I mean, she is every stereotype. She just made herself into a black stereotype. That's all she did. Well, this week I did a story and she's saying that, you know, because of her skin injections, when she gives birth, she will be giving birth to black babies, which we know that is genetically impossible, but this is what she's claiming. Yeah, she's definitely a freak. Yeah, she got everything done. You know, she got them balloons that are her breasts. You can tell she got her lips done. She got her nose done. She said she got her nose widened to look more like a black person. And ooh, this woman is a mess. She want to be us so bad that she's trying to literally transform herself into a whole black woman, which is still impossible. Yeah, yeah. She's definitely psychologically jacked up. I don't know what her mom and dad did to her when they raised her because she is one screwed up chick. No, she don't look like a black woman I've ever seen either. I know some of y'all saying she looked like some black woman. She don't look like any black woman I've ever seen. And she definitely don't sound like any black woman I've ever met in my life either. And I've met plenty of black women with accents, and I've never met one that sound like her. And I watch another video, and she got all this African artifacts and stuff in her house. Like she got all this African stuff in her house. I guess she is just taking it way too far. Oh, she's had a lot of plastic surgery. She admitted, I think she had like over $100,000 in plastic surgery done. You know how white women love running to the doctors to get some shit altered. Yeah, and natural breasts don't look like that. They don't. Even when you look at black women with big boobs, their boobs don't look like that. I'm sorry, they don't look like that. Honorary Hamite. No, I wouldn't even make her an honorary Hamite. She's not. She is very much a white woman, especially when she once she opens her mouth, she's very much a white woman. Yeah, I mean, they're literally silicone balloons in there. That's how they get their breasts bigger. I don't know if she's fertile or not, but she was talking about having kids. And her boobs are so damn big. If she's pregnant, she probably won't even get to see her stomach. Yeah, see, those are the kind of titties you see on white women when they go to the plastic surgeon, them fake out looking titties. Yeah, that's what she got. They pay an arm and a leg just to look even more faker than they already did. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she's pretty, yeah, she is scary looking, man. She is scary. I can't imagine walking into somebody that looked like that, but obviously she's getting a lot of play because She got a lot of pictures out there of herself. Wow. Well, that's all I wanted to show y'all for today. I am going to get off of here. I think we all got our laugh for today. Yeah, she's actually a walking minstrel show. That's how I see her. She looks like a walking minstrel show. She built herself out to look like a stereotypical Black woman. I don't know. I don't know, but that must be a hell of a sight. I don't think she can try out for the Olympics, Magic City. If she started running, she might give herself a black eye with them titties. Well, see, those injections are going to be dangerous because they're synthetic. When you put something artificial into your body to change your skin, yeah, you're opening yourself up to all kinds of health problems. That's why you see those people with skin infections from all those injections. That shit is synthetic. Yeah, I mean, eventually, I think it's going to take toll on her health. I really do. You can't put nothing synthetic like that in your body all the time. This is why, because somebody said, "Oh, pretty soon they'll all have that," and then they'll really be trying to replace us. They really can't do it because, as you can see, there's some people that got skin infections and all kinds of infections from that shit. So no, they're not going to be able to do that on a widespread level without people getting sick. Yeah. Well, all right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and end the hangout. I want to thank all of you for coming, and we'll definitely do this again. I'll see what kind of time I have tomorrow. If we can get together again, then I'll have a panel tomorrow in my hangout. I'll see. I'm going to have to kind of play this one by ear because I do have quite a bit going on. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. And as for the rest of my people, I'll see you on my second hangout on my other channel later on today. It'll probably be somewhere around 2:30. Peace, family.